What happens when the man you've been deceiving takes you to court, demanding every penny, every lie, and every single moment you stole from him? Doug Christie has just filed the most explosive lawsuit in reality TV history. And the targets: his own wife and his own teammate. After that shocking DNA bombshell confirmed Chris Webber as the real father of Jackie's daughter, Doug didn't shed a tear. He didn't beg for mercy. He lawyered up. And now, Jackie Christie and Chris Webber are facing a lawsuit for paternity fraud, identity manipulation, emotional distress, and a whopping $4.6 million in damages. This isn't just a betrayal anymore. It's about official documents, contracts, child support going back years, and the legacy they tried to steal. Jackie's brand? It's collapsing. Chris's endorsements? Vanishing fast. And then there's Chantel. Caught. Between two last names, one courtroom, and a lie that just keeps growing. Doug stayed quiet for 2 decades. But now, he's coming for everything. The court system is wide open because this isn't just payback. This is the reckoning for Jackie Christie's empire. It's one thing to be betrayed. It's another to discover the daughter you've raised for 20 years is not even yours. But to be publicly humiliated, lied to by your wife, and mocked by your own teammate in private? Doug Christie wasn't about to just walk away. He was about to drag them both through the mud. And now, the court documents are public. Filed in Los Angeles County Superior Court, this lawsuit reads like the plot of a Netflix courtroom drama. But this isn't fiction. This is Doug Christie versus Jackie Christie and Chris Webber. And the charges? They're nuclear. Let's break it down. Doug is suing Jackie and Chris for paternity fraud, intentional infliction of emotional distress, civil identity manipulation, public misrepresentation for financial gain, and yes, retroactive financial damages going back 20 years. Total amount sought $4.6 million. And Doug's lawyers say that figure could rise as more evidence comes to light. What's the evidence? Oh, it's all there. Every lie, every receipt, every whispered secret, Jackie and Chris thought would stay buried. It's out in the open now. Exhibit A. Doug's legal team has the DNA test results showing 0 biological connection to Chantel, and a second test showing a 99.9998% paternity match to Chris Webber. But it gets worse. Jackie's journal entries where she admitted knowing the truth. A leaked voicemail where Jackie warned Chris to stick to the story, and the bombshell clause in Jackie's VH1 contract where she falsely claimed she was raising her and Doug's biological child. Let that sink in. Jackie built a TV career, a brand, and a public image on a lie, and now Doug wants every single dollar that lie earned. But wait, there's more. Doug isn't just after money. He's demanding a full public correction of the birth certificate. He wants Chris Webber legally listed as the biological father, not just in private documents, but on all future public records. This isn't about pettiness. This is about permanent correction. Jackie, she's spiraling. Sources say when she got served the lawsuit, she collapsed in her foyer and cried for 2 hours straight. But don't get it twisted. This isn't the emotional breakdown of an innocent woman. This is the panic of a fraudster who just got legally cornered, and Chris Webber? Silent. No public response, no statement, just rumors of him firing his publicist and switching legal teams overnight. But let's talk about Doug's court strategy, because he's not just looking for headlines. He's coming for a precedent. His lead attorney, a high-profile Beverly Hills litigator, told the media, "This isn't just about Mr. Christie. This is about every man who's ever raised a child under a lie. We're going to establish paternity fraud as a serious, actionable civil offense with real consequences." Translation: Doug isn't just taking down Jackie. He's creating a legal blueprint for every father who's ever been betrayed. Boss, this case could change the law. Now, let's talk about the money, because that's where things get bloody. Doug's lawyers have presented a timeline of damages. Private school tuition, $180,000. College contributions, $95,000. And that's just the beginning. Every year, every dollar, every piece of trust he lost, Doug's coming for it all. And with Jackie's empire crumbling and Chris Webber's endorsements drying up, this courtroom battle might just redefine what it means to betray someone in front of the world. So now, we're waiting for the fallout. Will Doug get everything he's demanding? Or is this just the beginning of a much bigger storm? Medical coverage, $72,000. Vacations, $230,000. Sweet 16 party with beau. Wow, $75,000. Miscellaneous expenses, gifts, cars, clothing, $150,000. Brand damage to Doug's name from false paternity storylines, $500,000. Emotional distress valuation, $1.8 million. Jackie's VH1 income and endorsements earned off the lie, $1.5 million. Total, $4.6 million and counting. But that's not even the kicker. Doug isn't stopping there. He's demanding that Chris Webber's portion of the damages be split, 50-50, which means both Jackie and Chris may be on the hook for over $2 million each. And here's where it gets even messier. Doug's legal team requested preliminary subpoenas for Jackie's financial records, and what they found: shell accounts, hidden payments, and consulting fees from reality TV companies that don't even exist. According to one insider, the court could recommend a criminal review of the forged birth certificate. A televised trial? Definitely on the table. This is no longer just a scandal. It's the slow-motion collapse of a reality-built empire. Now, if you thought Jackie Christie's scandal couldn't get any worse, buckle up, because what she did next is downright insane. While Doug's legal team was strategically organizing a takedown in court, Jackie was backstage doing what she does best: plotting. Sources close to the case now confirm that during early deposition scheduling, Jackie reached out privately to Chantel, not to apologize, not to explain, but to allegedly buy her silence. Yes, you read that right. A woman who spent 2 decades hiding the truth about her daughter's father is now accused of trying to bribe that same daughter to avoid testifying in court. Here's what reportedly went down. 2 days after Doug's legal team issued a witness notification request for Chantel, Jackie's assistant allegedly delivered a sealed envelope to Chantel's apartment. Inside, $15,000 in cash, with a handwritten note that simply read, "You don't have to get dragged into this. Let your parents handle it. I'll take care of you like I always have." Boss, that's witness tampering, plain and simple. But here's the kicker. Chantel didn't play along. She photographed the envelope, kept the note, and handed it straight to Doug's attorney. Within hours, Jackie was hit with a cease and desist, and the court was notified. Jackie's response? She went on Instagram Live at 2 a.m., looking shaken, rambling about loyalty and people switching sides before abruptly ending the stream mid-sentence. Fans and followers lit her up. "Girl, you tried to buy your own daughter's silence?" They weren't holding back. "Jackie, this isn't Basketball Wives anymore. This is criminal court. Tampering with a witness when the whole world is watching? You're about to lose everything." And just like that, Jackie went from scandalous to criminally reckless. But it doesn't stop there. The depositions, they're officially underway. And the leaks, wild. We've now seen partial transcripts of Doug's official statement under oath. Here's a real quote that made headlines. "I spent 20 years protecting Jackie's image. Now I realize I was shielding the lie, not the woman." Mike. Drop. Doug went on to testify about the psychological toll this has taken on him, admitting, "There were times I felt something was off, but I ignored it. I loved my family. I thought I was doing the right thing. But love doesn't excuse deception." Then came Jackie's turn. Her testimony? A disaster. She fumbled through questions, contradicted her earlier statements, and when asked if she knowingly listed Doug as the biological father on Chantel's birth certificate, she admitted, "I didn't list him. The nurse just asked and I said his name." Attorney: "So you verbally confirmed paternity without a test?" Jackie: "Yes, but it was emotional. I was under stress." Boss: "The court is not buying emotional excuses for fraud." And just when it couldn't get worse, Chris Webber finally showed up. No lawyers, no entourage, just him, walking slowly into the deposition room like a man heading for execution. And what he said? It changed everything. I knew the possibility existed. Jackie told me she wasn't sure. I stayed silent to protect her and Doug. But silence can be just as damaging. Boom. Admission under oath. That one line alone opened him up to liability for emotional damages and financial fraud. Doug's attorney wasted no time with the next. Question: "So to be clear, you knowingly let another man raise your daughter for 2 decades without informing him of the truth?" Chris paused. "Yes, and I'll regret it for the rest of my life. Too little, too late. Because now the court has everything it needs: a forged identity, a confirmed DNA match, a conspiracy of silence, a bribe attempt, and public damage, directly tied to both Jackie and Chris. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Doug was working in silence, but building momentum. He released a public statement through his legal rep. "This isn't about revenge. It's about accountability. My life was altered by a lie I never asked to carry, and the people who built that lie will answer for it." The internet ate it up. Justice for Doug started trending. Or paternity fraud laws gained traction in advocacy circles. Even verified accounts were posting. Doug Christie became the face of calm vengeance. This is how you take your power back. Meanwhile, Jackie's brand, crumbling. Her real estate firm dropped her, and her future, looking more uncertain with every passing day. A podcast Jackie co-hosted was canceled. Even her reality TV syndication rights were put on pause due to breach of moral clauses. Boss: "She's bleeding professionally, financially, and emotionally." Meanwhile, Chris Webber, he's melting down in private. An insider leaked a text message reportedly sent by Webber to his team. "This is spiraling. I never expected court. I just wanted it to stay buried." Buried. Boss: "This scandal is now global front-page news. Even international gossip sites have picked it up. And Chantel? She's stepping into her own power. She officially filed paperwork to change her legal last name, citing emotional harm and the need for personal identity reconstruction." In an exclusive interview snippet leaked to a publishing outlet, Chantel stated, "This isn't just about who my father is. It's about truth, about being allowed to live in reality, not a script my mother created." Then she dropped the title of her upcoming book, Built on Lies: My Life as Someone Else's Daughter. That book alone could bury Jackie's image permanently. But let's shift focus back to the courtroom. Jackie might soon face criminal charges for the bribe attempt. Chris Webber is bracing for a second civil case if Doug's team splits the claims. Doug has already filed for official reimbursement orders, not just damage awards. And the judge, he's considering a motion to televise the full trial. You heard that right. This trial, Jackie versus Doug, with Chris in the crosshairs, might soon be aired for the world to watch. Testimonies, breakdowns, cross-examinations, everything. Even VH1 is watching closely, deciding whether to rebrand entirely and cut ties with the basketball wives' legacy. Meanwhile, Doug has stayed cool, composed, and deliberate. Sources say he's turned down every single reality TV pitch thrown his way, including offers to turn the scandal into a docu-series. Why? Because, as he reportedly told his team, "I didn't ask for the spotlight, but now that I have it, I'll use it to tell the truth, not to entertain." Boss, that's power. That's class. That's a man who lost everything and still walked out with dignity. And Jackie, she's cornered by the court, by the media, and by her own daughter. All that's left now is the verdict. The courtroom was packed. Reporters lined the walls, cameras waited outside, and even former NBA teammates and reality TV producers slipped in through side doors, desperate to witness the fall of two once iconic names, Jackie Christie and Chris Webber. But this wasn't just court. This was closure 20 years in the making. And at the center of it all was Doug Christie, silent, focused, unbreakable. The trial began with opening statements, and Doug's attorney came out swinging. The court will see that Mr. Christie was manipulated, deceived, and defrauded by the two people he trusted most. This is not just about DNA. This is about identity theft, emotional abuse, and the weaponization of loyalty. Jackie's lawyer tried to paint her as a confused young mother who made a mistake during a time of emotional distress, but no one in that room was buying the sob story. The receipts were already on the table. The DNA tests, the fake birth certificate, the voicemail to Chris, the journal entry, the bribe envelope. Then came day 2, the day Jackie took the stand. Dressed in all black with fake humility dripping. From every gesture, Jackie tried to hold it together. At first, she was composed. I loved Doug. I still do. I just didn't know how to tell him the truth without losing everything. But under cross-examination, the mask cracked fast. Attorney: Did you knowingly allow Mr. Christie to believe Chantel was his child for over 20 years? Jackie: Yes. Attorney: Did you financially benefit from that belief? Jackie: Yes. Boom. Whispers filled the courtroom. Then the attorney dropped the hammer. Would you say your brand, your TV contracts, your book deals, your public persona would have existed without that lie? Jackie blinked, trembled. Jackie: No. She broke right there, hands shaking, eyes red, mascara running. The woman who once controlled every basketball wives' reunion with her mouth was now falling apart under oath. But it got worse. The court called Chantel Christie to the stand. Silence swept through the room as she walked up, calm and strong. She sat down, looked her mother in the eye, and took a deep breath. Her voice was clear. I didn't know the truth about my paternity until this year, and when I did, it destroyed me. Her testimony was raw, heartbreaking, and precise. She explained how Jackie lied to her about everything, from her father's identity to why Chris Webber would randomly show up at family events. I remember asking my mom, why does Uncle Chris always cry when he sees me? She told me he was just emotional. I was too young to know the truth, that he wasn't an uncle at all. Gasps. But Chantel wasn't done. She went on to say she felt used, manipulated, and publicly exploited, raised as a brand accessory, not a daughter. And her most devastating line? Doug may not be my biological father, but he was the only parent in my life who never lied to me until he found out the lie he'd been given. Even the judge was visibly shaken. Jackie sobbed uncontrollably, but Chantel never looked away. She finished with a sentence that instantly went viral. The truth hurts, but lies ruin people. I lost my childhood to someone else's performance. Boss, your truth hurts but lies kill. This case has gone from a scandal to a reckoning. Then, the courtroom fell into silence. It was Doug's turn, but he didn't take the stand. Instead, he stood at the center of the room, holding nothing but the same photo of Chantel he'd carried for 20 years, her as a baby in his arms. He spoke, his voice quiet, controlled, and real. I loved that child the moment I saw her. I built my life around her. I sacrificed my career to be present, to be a father. I was proud of the man I became, even if the foundation was false. He paused, then looked at Jackie. "You could have told me. You had 1,000 chances. I wouldn't have walked away. I would have stayed for Chantel. But you didn't give me that choice. You robbed me of my truth." Then he turned to the judge. "Your Honor, this trial isn't about money. It's about meaning. It's about telling every man out there, you're not weak for being lied to. You are strong for surviving it. And I stand here today, not broken, but free." Boss. The courtroom erupted in applause. Even the judge had to silence the crowd. The verdict was unanimous. Jackie Christie was found liable for paternity fraud, emotional manipulation, civil deception, and financial misrepresentation, and ordered to pay $2.9 million in damages. Chris Webber was found jointly liable for willful concealment of paternity and emotional damage through prolonged silence, ordered to pay $1.7 million in restitution to Doug, and issue a formal public acknowledgement of paternity. And Doug? He was cleared, redeemed, and declared the legal victim of a 2-decade deception scheme. As Jackie left the courtroom, paparazzi swarmed, but she had nothing to say. Her team issued a bland statement. "We respectfully disagree with the ruling and are considering all options." No apology, no accountability, just silence and shame. Chris Webber, on the other hand, posted a public message that night. "I made mistakes. I stayed silent too long. I hope Doug can forgive me one day. And more than anything, I hope Chantel knows how proud I am to be her father." Too little, too late. But the final twist was Chantel's choice. In a press conference, outside the courthouse, she stepped up to the mic with Doug beside her. "The courts told us what the law says, but here's what my heart says. Doug Christie is the only father I've ever known. That's the name I'll carry in my soul. Chris may be my biological link, but Doug is my family." And with that, she hugged Doug in front of every camera, every headline. Jackie watched from a distance. Alone. The woman who had built an empire on deception had just lost everything. Her daughter, her husband, her brand, her public image, her legacy, all gone. And Doug? He didn't gloat. He didn't mock. He walked out of the courtroom with his head held high, a new mission in mind. Later, he announced he was partnering with a national organization to fight paternity fraud, helping fathers across the country who'd been trapped in lies just like his. "This isn't just my story anymore. It's the story of thousands, and I won't stop until every one of them has a voice." Boss, that's how. You end a scandal, not with noise, but with purpose. Now that the lies are dead and buried, who really walks away clean? Jackie Christie spent 2 decades pretending, performing, and profiting off a family built on fraud. Chris Webber let another man raise his child while smiling in his face, and now he wants forgiveness. And Doug? He gave them everything, only to be fed betrayal wrapped in silence. So, here's what we want to know. Should Jackie be arrested for this? Because this wasn't just emotional damage. This was a full-blown, monetized deception. Should Chris Webber be banned from every NBA honor? Moving forward. Because silence isn't protection, it's participation. And Chantel, was she the only one who walked away with her soul intact? You tell us right now in the comments. Don't hold back. Don't sugarcoat it. Let the internet know exactly what you'd do if your legacy was hijacked and your family was faked. Like this video if you're done watching Liars Wear Crowns. Subscribe if you believe betrayal should come with a price tag. And turn on notifications, because the next secret might make this one look like child's play. This is the Buzz, and we're not just reporting the drama, we're burning.